If you want to figure out how to do this with zero money down, I'm your guy. So I know that sounded like one of those car salesman pitches or whatever, zero money down or whatever, whatever you're thinking. So I'll explain to you what that means. So when I first started doing this, I was working at a pet store, and most of you have seen my videos in the past, and you already know that I used to work at a pet store, and that's how I got started in this. So the way I got started is people were dropping off rescues at the pet store, and we weren't able to obviously take in any rescues because that's not what we were doing. So it was either they had to sit there and we just gave them way out for free to whoever the next person who wanted it was, or someone took it home. And for me, I decided to take them home. So that's how I got my first 2 bearded dragons. Fast forward to 2018, I actually decided to stop breeding bearded dragons, and that lasted about 2 years, and then I got back into breeding bearded dragons. Although I stopped breeding bearded dragons, I actually never stopped doing my actual side hustle. Bearded dragons is a hobby. It's not really, I mean, you can make money off of it. I'm not going to lie, breeding animals, you can make money off of it, but it's not going to make you a ton of money. So my side hustle actually was making enclosures for people that bought the bearded dragons. Now you may think, oh, you can't make that much money off the enclosures. In fact, you actually can. Now it's a lot of work, I'm not going to lie, but it benefits you to make money off the enclosures or whatever. Let's say you're making enclosures or rat racks, or you're making snake racks or something like that. Whatever it is that you're making that can make you money, that is going to be your side hustle, because even though you have a job, even though you are breeding the reptiles, the enclosures and the racks and everything like that makes you honestly more money than breeding the animals does. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that. There's going to be a point where you transition from making more money off the reptiles than you do the enclosures and the builds and stuff like that. But starting off, it's a very good way to put yourself out there and make money or earn money enough to propel your reptile business further than it is now. So when I came back into it, I already was making the enclosures, and the enclosures helped me fund the rest of my projects. The enclosures helped me fund getting into ball pythons. So although this year I'm strictly just breeding reptiles, I'm not really doing enclosures anymore, or any builds really, to be honest. But honestly, if somebody messages me and say, hey, can you build this for me, I'm not going to turn it away, because like I said, you do make money off of it. So the purpose of this video is I'm going to be telling you how, and not necessarily telling you how, but forwarding you in a location where you can find out how you can make money off the builds, enough to either make a side hustle income or enough to propel your reptile business further in the future. So what that means is, all right, so I'm going to be showing you, as I'm talking about it, I'm going to be showing you my website and the different prices and stuff that I have on there. So as I'm showing you this, it kind of gives you an idea of what you can really make off these enclosures. Now, when I make enclosures, I usually spend about $200 on materials, and some of the materials that I buy aren't just going to be used one time. It's going to be screws, it's going to be stuff like that where I can use it over and over again. Maybe 5 or 6 enclosures is when I'll have to rebuy those materials again. So it really just depends on what you buy, how much you buy, if you can save some money here and there. So it really just depends on that situation. So with that said, I could possibly make $150 off the enclosure builds. Sometimes a little bit more. Obviously, if a person's getting 17 enclosures, I'll cut them a deal, because if I'm selling 17 enclosures and I can make $150 off each enclosure, I don't have a problem doing the wiggle room, right? If I'm doing one enclosure and it takes me 5 hours to make this enclosure, that's $150 in 5 hours. That's about $30 an hour, which is not great, but in that 5-hour time frame, and honestly, the way I build my enclosures, it honestly takes me 5 hours to build 3 or 4 enclosures at the same time. So if I can make, $600 in 5 hours, that's a little bit different than making $150 in 5 hours. But if somebody's asking for 17 enclosures and I'm doing that over a course of, 2 weekends, then honestly at that point, that's a lot better than $30 an hour. You're honestly making, if you work it out correctly, you're honestly making, yourself $125 an hour. So that's a pretty good profit, in my opinion, if you think about it that way. It all depends on the tools you have. It all depends on how much free time you have. And it all depends on your will to actually do this, because my wife is always like, I don't know how you're out there doing that stuff, and in the heat, because I don't have a workshop or anything like that. I do everything, all my builds outside. So if it's 100 degrees and I have an order, I'm doing it outside in 100-degree weather, and I'm not going to stop until it's done. So that's the way I am. So if you're not like that, maybe this isn't for you. But if you have a workshop and if you have a place to do this, it's not going to be that hard for you, because like I said, if you can make $125 an hour if you have 4 orders, man, that's going to be great. So the way I do this, let's say you need $20,000 to make your reptile business successful, but you don't have $20,000. The way I do my reptile builds, I make people pay at least 50% up front if they have a big order, or if they're, one-off purchases or anything like that, they can buy it on my website, and I'll just have it ready for them within a week or two. So obviously at that point, there's no upfront cost for you, and you're still getting the product to the person. Now, obviously, if you don't deliver on this product, then that's on you, but you got to make sure you deliver on that product. I used to have a 2-week lead time, but because, like I said, this year I'm not really focusing on the builds. Now I have a 4-week lead time, but honestly, I usually get everything done in about a week. It really just depends on how many orders I got coming in. But like I said, this year I'm not really working on that, so most likely it's going to be a week, but I always say 4 weeks just to cover my, make sure people are not emailing me or calling me every single day asking me where their order is. So that's just a little bit of what I do. Now, I'm going to lead you to this. If you join my membership on YouTube, or if you join my membership on Patreon, you get detailed videos on these builds. So you can make your own reptile enclosures, you can make your own rat racks, you can make your own snake racks, and all of this is going to be something that you can use to not only prepare yourself for your collection, but also propel your business. Because if you can build your self enclosures, that's going to save you money. If you can sell these enclosures, that's going to make you money to possibly buy yourself some nicer things. Now, ball pythons. I've only been doing ball pythons. I think this will be my 2nd year doing ball pythons, my 3rd year owning since I got my first ball python. So with that said, I've easily spent maybe 30 grand on ball pythons in the last 2 years, just buying things that I want to breed and things that I want to grow up to, fill it out and see if I actually like it. So, and there's honestly been some things where I've bought them, and then after a while I'm like, this was a terrible purchase, I need to get rid of it, but I can't, because nobody else wants that purchase. And that's the same thing with anything. So that's just how it went for me. There's some animals that I'm like, I don't even know if I want to keep them, if I want to breed them. But now at this point I'm invested. I'm going to breed them for 1 year, see how it does for me, and then if it doesn't work out, they're going to be for sale next year. We'll see what happens. But that's what I did. I used my projects, my builds, the things I sold to propel my ball python business further. And this year, as you've seen, I've been producing ball pythons kind of regularly. Just this month of July alone, I've probably produced 30 ball pythons. I think maybe like 4 or 5 clutches or something like that. So it's not bad. But obviously I'm not, a huge breeder or anything like that where I'm producing hundreds of clutches a year. I'm only producing 10 clutches a year as of right now, maybe 11, 12, 13 if the females that I'm still breeding decide to go. So we'll see what happens. But that's just going to show you that it's more than just, I need to save up money. Sometimes saving up money isn't enough. Sometimes you got to go out there and hustle and make your own money. And sometimes you need to go out there and sell your business and make sure people know who you are. Because a lot of the people that I've sold enclosures to, or rat racks to, or whatever I've sold them to, they always come back for animals. So I sold them enclosures last year. I sold them something, whatever last year. This year they're like, hey, what do you got for sale? And I'm not doing enclosures anymore, but they already got setups because they bought a bunch of the setups last year. So now this year they're just like, all right, I just need to buy animals. I just need to get some nicer stuff. And that's what they're doing. So if you can prepare yourself that way, then you're obviously going to be further along than most people are just waiting to save up money for their projects. So with that said, make sure you check my Patreon and my YouTube membership. They both start at $5. So if you don't have $5 to possibly invest in your future every month, then I don't know, maybe this isn't what you need to get into. But if you got $5 and you want to make yourself some nice enclosures, if you want to make yourself some nice rat racks, go go get on my membership, $5 a month, go on Patreon, go on YouTube, whatever it is, it'll help you out. Now on Patreon, I will say that it goes further into helping you out. YouTube membership and the lower tiers on Patreon are mainly going to be just for helping you with DIY stuff and helping you set up kind of an initial gist of the business aspect of it. if you go into the higher tiers in Patreon, I will actually be helping you pick out animals for your collection. I'm gonna be on calls with you. I'll do whatever you need me to do. And obviously, I've done this for people in the past, and it worked out for them. But there was no. I know this sucks to hear, but there was nothing in it for me. And a lot of people, they do this for you. They ask you for all your help. They ask you for your time, and then at the end of the day, you get nothing in return. Even though I've had people in the past say, "Oh, whenever I get big, whenever I do this, whenever I do that, I'll throw something your way. I'll give you free animals. I'll help you out, whatever." I'm still waiting. I haven't received anything from anybody. So that just goes to show that sometimes doing it for free, it's only benefiting the person you're helping. So for me, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. So if you've been texting me or if you've been calling me, asking me for advice and all that, just follow my Patreon. I hate to say it like that, but I mean, it is what it is. I've spent so much time helping people. I've spent so much time teaching people, and I've never had anything in return. And I know it sucks to say, it sounds selfish, but honestly, I've been so selfless for so many years, and I haven't seen anything for it, and nobody's helped me. So that just goes to show. So from now on, I'm going to be worried about myself. From now on, I'm going to be making sure that if you actually have the time and if you actually have the will to succeed, I'll make sure that I help you via my Patreon, via my YouTube membership, because those people are supporting me in ways that nobody else is supporting me. So I'm going to support them right back. So with that said, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. And as always, peace.